Tracy Take. I am your co-host, Tyler, here with my brother, Ryan. We are going to be giving you our Week 7 predictions. But before we get into that, if this is your first time here, one, welcome. Thanks for joining. And then also hit that subscribe button so you can see when we go live. And also like this video and comment on just kind of what your thoughts are on some of our picks. If you like them, dislike them. If you think we're weird looking, whatever. And then share this video with your friends and family. And that being said, Ryan, let's get into it. We are a third of the way through the season. We talked a little bit about it on the show last night. It seems like now a lot of the teams who are going to be something have shown potential and are starting to turn in that right direction. And then there's teams that are definitely out of it. And then teams who really need to figure out quickly or they're going to get far left behind. And so we, going back though, just reviewing last week's, I edged it out very close. I went 8-6 while you went 7-7. I think that puts the record on the season, me with 4 wins, you with 1 win, and then we have tied one week. And so overall though, you're still above 500 overall. 49 picks correct, 44 wrong, 1 tie. I've actually been able to extend my and kind of grow my percentage a little bit. I'm at 56 correct picks with 37 incorrect and 1 overall. 1 tie. And so not too bad. A lot of that's luck though. Like we talked a little bit about it last week. Like I just try and avoid the clear obvious ones where it's like, okay, that was like that. Looking back on it, that was a bad pick. Like last week, I shouldn't have picked Cleveland. And you hit the nail on the head. New England dominated that game. And even then, if you look at last year's game, not too much of that team has changed besides the quarterback. And actually, you could argue that the Browns have gotten better because then they also added Amari Cooper. And just total whiff on my part. And so, but a lot of close games that just kind of go either way. And it's funny too to think about as well, like how many times we picked the Packers and Tampa Bay, and they've lost. And they've lost. So it's like those are multiple picks that are that have been incorrect. So, but third of the way through the season, kind of really just kind of like quick summary, like what's your overall thoughts right now? And any like clear shocks to the season so far? Especially when it comes to picking games.
Tampa Bay struggling. One of the big things for me is like the amount of last minute plays that affect the outcome of games. I feel like maybe it's just because we're keeping track of it this year. That it seems that way, but I feel like there has been so many like last second field goals. The Chicago game with like the last second double clutch catch with Darnell Mooney on the goal line. I'm like that. Like if he catches it the first time, it's a touchdown. Chicago wins, and if he doesn't, if he double clutches it like he did, they lose because he gets tackled at the half. Like so, things like that I feel like are happening a whole lot more this season than in years past. But I feel like that might be a little bit of bias because you and I have never done this before.
Yeah, I'm curious to kind of to look back at it at the end of the year, see what improvements we've been. Because honestly, the main difference between you and I think I have a 7-game advantage on you. Mm-hmm. And there have definitely been 7 games that I just lucked out in the end. You know, you've had some as well, but like week 1, Tennessee misses a 40-yard field goal, and the Giants win that game. I had the Giants winning, you had the Titans winning. You know, and it's like little things like that. I think the one thing for me, because there's a lot of talk about the Broncos, and rightfully so because they suck ass. But they are still going to be so hard to pick in the future because that defense is so stinking good. It's so good. They gave up 30 points to the Raiders, which honestly, Raiders offense, all things considered, is really good. Yes, they're 1-4, but they still have a lot of explosiveness on that offense. So, but they've held every other team, I think, to less than 17 points if you include the Seattle game. And it's like they are just – it's just shocking how awful they've been. And it's amazing, especially now. It's like it's like the phrase like don't kick someone while they're down. It's like that's not applying right now to Russell Wilson because the amount of just like he's never been a good team leader talk and how much disdain some of his former teammates and current teammates have, how that's all coming out now. Like there had been some talks about that over the past couple of years, but now it's like he's not with the Seahawks anymore. He's not my teammate. Now is the perfect, to just absolute dog him.
It's
rightfully so.
It's interesting because, like you said, he is down, but you're getting a lot of people like from Seattle back when he was kind of hidden in that Pete Carroll system that are coming out and being like, he was never that guy in the locker room. Like it was always Bobby Wagner. It was always Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, and those those guys, the team leaders really were the star defensive players. So it's interesting to see. The Broncos are in trouble. They, through 6 games, have not been able to get any rhythm whatsoever on offense. Yeah. They've had 2 solid drives this entire year, and frankly, they looked worse last night than they did.
They started out hot, but it was just amazing. Like they just could not. They just could not get going. They just could not get going. Once they.
Yeah. But another thing too that has really surprised me, the Seahawks. The Seahawks are 3-3, and in my opinion, have the least talented roster. Yeah.
Well,
in the NFL, like them, Houston. I like them and Houston. Really,
least talented. I don't know. Well, maybe overall because that defense sucks. The defense is not good at all. But at least because they're still able to score points. I mean, I think you can make an argument that the Falcons have the least amount of talent on their team, but their coaching and all their players fit really well in their scheme.
Yeah,
I think you'd have to include the Panthers.
The Panthers
in there as a team that has a lot of lack of talent. But the thing with the Seahawks, though, the Seahawks, especially as they offload players. The Seahawks, though, even with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Geno Smith is kind of having a resurgence. I think giving some people like saying like, hey, maybe he deserves a shot here. Because imagine if that defense was a little bit better. They beat the Saints. They beat the who else did they lost to? They got blown out by the 49ers. But that was week 2. And then who was their other loss? I'd have to look it up. Was it the Rams? Yeah, the Rams. It had to be the Rams. Yeah, it had to be the Rams. But even then, I think that was relatively close. But
no, it was 49ers. 49ers, Falcons, and Saints.
Oh, they did lose to the Falcons. Oh yeah. See, I'm not used to the Falcons. It's been a while since the Falcons have consistently won like in a good fashion. But anyways,
speaking of the Falcons.
Speaking of the Falcons, that'll be our first game. So we've already done our Thursday night football prediction. That video is coming out tomorrow morning.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Tomorrow. All right. Yeah. So check that out on our channel. It's the New Orleans Saints versus the Arizona Cardinals. A lot's been going on. Cardinals suck. I made a prediction about Cliff Kingsbury's future. So check out what our thoughts are on that and who we have winning. And so, but going into Sunday, starting out, and I just go in the order that ESPN has it. And the Falcons will almost always be the first game just because I have them favored. So it's whatever. My Falcons, though, are 500, and they were 500 or at 500. And they've been at 500 for a little while now. They were at 500 multiple times last year. 500, being 3 in the season feels different. Like they've won some good games. Like they beat Seattle. It's at Seattle. And they're doing it to the 49ers, and then they should have beat the Saints in week 1. Yeah. They beat who's their other win?
Panthers.
No, they haven't played the Panthers yet.
Browns.
Yeah, they beat the Browns. And they've been beating them in a way that I really like because I think they don't really have too many skill players. And it's like so they have Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and that really is it. They have Olamide Zaccheaus, who is their slot guy, and they have a couple other role pieces as well. Those guys contribute well, but not enough. Like substantial weapons, where they can just overpower someone. But they have such a great balance, and they've established the run, and they've done such a great job running the ball. I think now in the NFL, I saw a stat, they have less than 50% design pass plays, which is the fewest in the league, which I love to see. That is the ultimate balance, so to say. But they do have some injuries. They did lose Casey Hayward. He's going to IR. Not sure how long he is out, but going up against a Cincinnati team that has arguably the best receiving duo or trio, however you want to say, in the league. Yeah. And I think it's just going to be a little too much for the Falcons. I would love to see a good game or a really good game from them. Then give me more confidence to pick them in the future. But I do think I just believe Cincinnati is going to win this one. I think they had a good victory against the Saints. They put up 30 points against a tough defense. I think they're just going to be a little too much for the Atlanta Falcons. I think it's going to be a close game, like a 28-21 Cincinnati Bengals victory. So I'm just going to go with the Bengals on this one.
Yeah, I just think the Bengals are going to be too talented, kind of like what you said. That's what they did with the Saints. I think the Saints actually did a really good job of containing that offense. However, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow just connected on 2 big touchdown plays, and that's 14 points, and that's the big difference there. It's you get 2 40-plus yard touchdowns, and that's hard to come back from. And I just think with Casey Hayward out, those plays will be a lot easier, because if it's not to Jamar Chase, then it'll be to T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd, just because you guys don't have that.
Hayden Hurst, the former Falcons, the one hope that the Falcons have, and this is what happened with the 49ers, and I think I'm pretty sure, I think in all 3 of their wins, they were up for a majority of the game. I need to go back and double check. Actually, I don't know if that was like that for the Seahawks. But they were always there in contention. And at worst, they've always been in contention, even if they weren't winning, but they're down a score, down 4 points or a field goal or something like that. To where then they can still run, do their game. They can play their game, go by their playbook. And that's run the ball, then have play action, get Mariota in space, give him options to where pass or run the ball. Because that's essentially their whole offense. They have 3 reads. They have Drake London, then Kyle Pitts as their number 2, or vice versa. And then the third option is Mariota run the ball. That's pretty much it. Maybe they'll have a check down guy. So, but if they get down 2 scores, I don't like the Falcons' ability back, because they're going to start throwing the ball more, and it's going to take away from the run, which I never thought I'd say. I don't think the Falcons have been an elite running team since Michael Turner was there in Matt Ryan's rookie year. So
you guys did well with Kyle Shanahan when he was your offensive coordinator of the year. You guys went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Devontae Freeman had a great year, but I think some of that, though, with
it was your weapons on the outside that opened it up, I feel like.
Yeah, because that year you had Julio Jones, you had
Mohamed Sanu, Taylor Gabriel.
There was something I think I saw.
Was Tony Gonzalez still there?
No, Tony Gonzalez, he wasn't there. Who was their tight end? Austin Hooper was their tight end. But I think I saw that year Matt Ryan had a touchdown pass to 13 different recievers or something like that.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I'm trying to think, but 11 or 13. But that's absurd. That. I mean, that's just how. And props to Kyle Shanahan. So we're going a little long on the Falcons. I know they're great and everything. I could talk about them forever. But especially that 2016 Super Bowl run.
The last thing I will say is the Falcons have been a team that really surprised me. I thought they'd be picking top 10, and right now they're a borderline wild card team.
Borderline. So, I mean, right now they're tied for the division. I mean, they're behind technically to Tampa Bay, but anything can happen. But let's move on though. And so it's always fun. I'm normally not used to talking about the Falcons for that long, especially in such a positive way. But moving on to the next game, the Detroit Lions are playing the Dallas Cowboys. Detroit's coming off a bye. Dallas is coming off a win against Philly where they weren't really they had a little bright spot there in the third quarter, but they really weren't very.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really a very close game. They made it a little exciting.
Yeah.
But good news for them. It seems like Dak Prescott will be coming back, and I couldn't think of a better defense. Maybe Seattle that he could come back and go up against, because this defense is very. They have a lot of potential in the future. This year, they're still just young and inexperienced.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Dallas, similar to Cincinnati, I think they're just going to be able to overpower them. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. But on top of it, though, with Dallas being able to overpower them, the Cowboys' defense will be able to stop the Lions' offense enough. I can see it being like a 38-28 type game.
Yes. I think the Cowboys kind of shut them down. It's going to be a little bit harder because I think the Lions are coming off a bye. They're going to have a little extra energy. But I think this Cowboys pass rush is going to get to Jared Goff, which in turn is going to cause him to make mistakes, because when the Lions can keep the pocket clean, he can dice up defenses. And we kind of saw that through the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
But as soon as they play teams with good pass rushes, Jared Goff gets quick with the ball and a little bit loose. And I think the Cowboys, I think it'll start out close, but I think in the second half of the third quarter and going into the fourth, the Cowboys will kind of run away with it a little bit. I'm gonna say 42-24. Will be the score of that one.
I would say I believe the Cowboys will win. I'm confident with the pick. I would not be surprised though, because the Lions have.
Oh, we lost Tyler mid-sentence there.
Oh, you got me there? Okay. I was going to say I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions win this game. I believe the Cowboys will win. I'm confident in this pick. But the Lions, though, have been competitive in nearly every single game. And if this offense can come out and get into a rhythm, I think they could definitely test Dallas. But overall, though, I think Dallas is just playing a little bit better.
Yeah. I especially on the defensive side of the ball. I know they gave up 26 to Philadelphia, but Philadelphia has such a unique attack. And I really like what Dallas is doing on the defensive side of the ball specifically. I am curious to see how the Dallas offense comes out with Dak rather than Cooper Rush, to see if it takes him time to kind of get on the same page as everybody. And look at that. That is one X factor here.
Yeah, it was one thing too. But watching Cooper Rush, he's been playing really well. I think he's been playing a lot better than people have expected him. And this was the first legit defense. Well, I mean, not legit, because that's insulting, I think, to some of the other defenses. Because Philly is by far, I think, the best defense or top 5 defense in the league. Compared, especially who he has played in over these past couple games. But he has definitely kept his composure, and we saw definitely his second stringness Sunday night. Which isn't.
He had one good quarter, but then that was really it.
Well, and it's not not trying to be harsh, but it definitely was. Dak, I think, would have handled and not pressure the game. I just mean the legit
pass rush,
defensive line differently, and he adds another edge with his mobility. Cooper Rush just doesn't have, and so I wouldn't be surprised if a team gives him an opportunity, especially who's looking for a stopgap. Hey, maybe the Panthers will sign him and have him start next year. And so
after they trade off Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield
PJ Walker,
Matt
Corral out of there because he hasn't done anything for them. No, I'm just kidding, because he's hurt. So Dallas is going to win that game. Let's move on now to the AFC South, and this is the first game that we disagree on. And I think this is a tight game, very tight game. Indianapolis Colts at the Nashville Titans, who are getting a new stadium as it's coming out. So I think it's going to be right next to Nissan Stadium. So it's going to be right next to that parking lot. I used to park there. I love stadiums that are right downtown. I hate seeing all these stadiums that are leaving the city and everything. And that goes across all sports for me because there's something about just that vibe. Nashville here, we have the Easton Stadium that's right across the river, Cumberland, and then you have the Predators, who actually they're playing right now. Bridgestone Arena is right on top of Broadway. So I love that it is that both those arenas and stadiums are right there. And I'm glad that the Titan Stadium is staying down there. It's going to be great when there's a Super Bowl here in the city. That all being said, I think the Colts are going to win this game. I think the Colts have found something on offense, and I think the emergence of Alec Pierce, now they have two deadly weapons on the receiving side of the ball, as well as their other role players with Paris Campbell as their other receiver. Then you still have Mo Alley Cox, you have Kylan Grax as their tight end, and if Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines come back as well healthy, the Colts found something running the ball. Deion Jackson was very effective, both pass catching and running the ball against Jacksonville, who has a pretty solid interior defense at stop of the run.
Yeah.
So I thought it was impressive and momentum building. Who would have thought that their game against Denver would have built some momentum for them?
Yeah,
so,
somehow. I mean,
yeah. But
I went with Tennessee on this one. They went into Indianapolis earlier in the season and won, and I think that's a big psychological advantage for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
But also, I really think that Indianapolis kind of – they really – I don't think they're very good. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but they should have lost to Denver. The Jacksonville game, I think Jacksonville's kind of come back down to earth after their 3-0 start.
No, they lost their first week to Washington.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And then they won.
They beat the Colts.
The next two, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think Jacksonville's kind of come back down from that. And they got a little lucky against Jacksonville. They made really good plays. And I just don't know. I struggle to pick the Colts. Every time I pick them, they lose, and whenever I don't pick them, they win. So I don't know what to do with this one. But I just think Tennessee, I like their run game against this Colts defense. They struggled with that against Denver. And I mean, it's not really like Denver was able to do much else.
So for me, I was just when looking at Tennessee, is I think when I bring up their weapons, the Tennessee secondary is weak, and so when it was just Michael Pittman, it was easy for them to double up and then be like, all right, then like you're going to be. Now with the emergence of Alec Pearson, that's another person that they have to come back at. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think Matt Ryan got sacked last week, so I'm hoping.
Oh, we lost Tyler again in the middle of a sentence twice. I don't know. I guess I'll have to wait for my rebuttal for him to come back. If you are in the comment or in the chat, go ahead and leave a comment, and we will do our best to answer you as soon as Tyler comes back from his internet deficiencies. He left. There you go. Did your internet go out again?
Hey, sorry. Yeah, I'm making a note now. Everyone can see because I'm getting sick and tired of even my work laptop is losing internet now. So I don't know what it is. We have AT&T. I don't know. I don't think it's a laptop now anymore because now both of my laptops, even our TV does it now. Anyways, where were we? I feel bad.
Alec Pierce and the Colts weapons, you said were going to be too good for the Tennessee Titans secondary. I agree and disagree. I think these teams play so much that they have kind of learned the habits. And I think Mike Vrabel knows how to defend the Colts. That's why I think these games are always so close because, I mean, they know each other so well. So I agree with you. I definitely think the Colts wide receivers have the advantage talent-wise, but it's just going to be so close because these teams are very close in talent and they play each other all the time. So they're always very competitive games.
Yeah, no, it's going to be close. I mean, it's going to be fun here in Nashville. It's always neat. Yeah. Titans are playing well. People get very excited around here. Rightfully so. You know, like they're a good team. I just think I picked Indianapolis to win the division preseason, and I made that mistake last week when I picked Kansas City over Buffalo when I had Buffalo winning the Super Bowl. So,
yeah,
I believe Indianapolis is going to win this game. Win 3 in a row, surprisingly, and take hold of that division. So let's move on though now to I think is going to be an interesting game. But it's Green Bay versus Washington, and we both have Green Bay winning this game, but it's similar to last week where, well, we were wrong because the Jets beat them really well. But I don't really want to pick Green Bay, even though, like, it's Washington. Like, Carson Wentz is out now for a couple of weeks with a broken finger. Taylor Heineke is playing. But even then, you just don't have much confidence right now with Green Bay Packers.
I do. The Bears absolutely suck. And the Bears played Washington really tough. And we saw what Green Bay did earlier in the season to the Bears. Yeah. I think Green Bay, even for Washington, is just too talented. Just flat out. I think they're going to be coming out with a big point to prove in week 7. And I just think that Green Bay is going to come out and slap them around pretty good. So
it is a good game for Green Bay and also just for Green Bay fans, but also for Green Bay as a whole. Be like, okay, this is like we're going to find our identity in this game. We are going to absolutely be the schoolyard bully, and we are going to put up 45 points against this team because we are going to show people that this offense is legit, even though everyone knows Washington is not good at all. It's like we are going to go build confidence and we are going to go score a touchdown on every single drive. Because if they don't, like, let's say they only win this game like by 3 points, it's like 13-10. That says a lot more about the Packers than it is like, oh, is Washington actually competitive? And like, no, because they're not competitive at all. They're going to be picking in the top 8, next year. They're just not good at all. And even then, if you look at that defense, they really only have Jonathan Allen. That's honestly their only good player on that defensive side of the ball. And so that defense is so weak. Packers should be able to put up 35 points against this team. So, but we had the Packers winning that game. And similar here, actually, honestly, this is almost going on the next game. It's almost identical kind of mindset is Tampa Bay versus Carolina.
Like, you don't know what I find interesting about this? So Green Bay is only 5.5-point favorites, whereas Tampa Bay is 11-point favorites.
Well, I think that I can see that because it goes to what we talked about last night on our show. The Tampa Bay's offense, they have explosive players, and if they give Tom Brady time, he can pick a defense apart, and they can still go put up 35 points. Green Bay, though, does not have that explosiveness capability. Like at most this season, they've only scored, if I'm not mistaken, 27 points, and that was against the Bears, right? I don't think that they've scored any more points than that. Tampa Bay they've only scored 31. But some of that, though, still it's all more offensive line based. While they do still have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and they still have Leonard Fournette out of the backfield, and they have other great role players kind of go along with their offense that they can be explosive, while the Packers just do not have that. So that's why I could see
nor will they this season.
Yeah, like I could see the I could see the Buccaneers going and winning by 25 points. And I could honestly see the Packers only winning this game by 3 points, like I said, 13-10, just because their offense really seems to struggle to be explosive and then consistently develop some good drives for points.
Yeah.
So, but really, and so for me, when I look at this Tampa Bay game, I think it's as what we just talked about with Green Bay playing against a team that clearly is reeling. Carolina might be picking first overall at the end of the year. The Bucs had an embarrassing loss last week against Kenny Pickett and the Steelers. I just think that it's going to be. I think they're going to come out and they're going to try and find their identity, and they're going to really work on something, especially that offensive line. I think they want to absolutely manhandle this defensive line from Carolina, because that is what I'm really going to be interested to watch, to see how that offensive line plays.
Yeah. But again, I think Tampa Bay, it should be a cakewalk for both Green Bay and Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So,
mm-hmm.
Up next, this is a game I'm actually really excited for. I cannot believe at the beginning of the year, I cannot believe I would be saying this come week 7, but the New York Giants are going to Jacksonville to take on Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars.
In a game that means something.
Yeah, like in a game that actually means something, because frankly, the Jaguars, if they win, they're a game back from the division lead, and the Giants need to keep winning to stay a game back from the division lead. So this is a really important game. Jacksonville is a 3-point favorite. Who do you have winning this one?
So let me double check here. I have the Giants winning this game. I just think the Giants, they've found ways to win 5 of their 6 games this year. They've all been close. I don't think this was going to be any different. Not that Jacksonville isn't good. This was definitely a tough decision for me. But Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones, they have found something. And Brian Daboll, as a head coach, I think really has brought the best out of a lot of people. The one thing that could hurt New York is that they still don't really have any receivers at all. And so everything's gonna run through Saquon.
That's ultimately what led me to pick Jacksonville.
So yes, and my thing is this Giants defense still is playing really well. And so I think that they'll be able to limit Jacksonville, because Jacksonville does have some pieces that can definitely worry you. You got Christian Kirk, you got Marvin Jones, and you still have James Robinson and Travis Etienne to go alongside Trevor Lawrence in the backfield. But I think the defense will match that Jacksonville offense, and I think that the Giants will be able to game plan enough to where they can get 24 points. And I think it's going to be another Giants have had a lot of close games. I don't think they've blown anybody out.
No. All 5 wins, I want to say, are by less than a touchdown.
Oh, yeah. So I think that they're going to win 24-21. I think they won 24-20 last week, thanks to Lamar Jackson being.
They beat the Bears 20-12. So if that puts it in,
that's still a touchdown. That's a touchdown 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
So, I'm just going to go with the hot. This is so tough, but I'm just going to go with the hot hand. I can absolutely see a scenario where Jacksonville wins, but I just believe that the Giants are going to. The Giants are going to game plan well against Jacksonville. And I think they're going to go to 6-1.
I just think Jacksonville matches up pretty well. I think the strength of that defense is the front 7. And I think that they will be able to limit the running plays, especially in the Wildcat. That's one thing I feel like teams are surprisingly struggling with, especially with the speed at linebacker in the NFL now. Teams are really struggling with the Wildcat. So that's an interesting thing to look out for. And I don't see this Jacksonville team they're pretty fast on defense, and I don't really see them being able to really run around, let Daniel Jones run around and kind of get a lot of scramble yards. And so that for me, I think that they're going to limit that. And Trevor Lawrence has been playing really well. And a lot of people haven't necessarily seen that because he is in Jacksonville, but I really like kind of what he is doing down there. I think he's elevating the play of that team a good bit. And so I really like what's going on. I'm going with Jacksonville. I think this is going to be a really good game. So we'll see. I
agree. Yeah. This is one of those games where if the Giants lose, like I wouldn't be shocked or disappointed in my pick because there is a lot of potential at Jacksonville, and I think they're definitely going to be a team that people really have to worry about next year as well. I think this year it's like we're seeing that potential, but they're going to go 5-12. I wouldn't be surprised, maybe 6-11.
Yeah.
And the Giants, they've just been able to win games. They just pull it out in the end. And so, but yeah, so that's our second of 3 games that we disagree on. Going on to our next one here, Cleveland versus Baltimore. We both have Baltimore winning. I think I'm done picking Cleveland to win. Unless they're just going up. Even then, I think I just want to pick Houston out of spite. Fair, but I think it's week 13 because I think they technically have a bye. But anyways,
maybe it's week 13.
Cleveland, though, especially on the road and especially against a team and it's Baltimore too. So it's not that I really have much faith in this pick, but I think Baltimore is just going to be just overall a little bit more well-rounded. We saw what happened last week when the Patriots, who have a solid front seven, stopped the run. Cleveland does struggle to then kind of move things elsewhere. And I think we're going to see something similar. Ravens' whole game plan is to have a strong front seven and stop the run on defense and run the ball well on offense. And so, and the Ravens, as much as I dog them, I mean, they easily could be 6-0 right now if they just, they have just three
the bed in the coaching department.
Oh my God. Just absolutely. They could be 6-0 right now. They should be 6-0 right now.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to say should because
they should be 5-1.
Yeah. Well, at minimum, who knows what Buffalo does? Let's say they kick the field goal. Who knows what Buffalo does? Because they did go down the field and kick a field goal to win the game.
Yeah.
And they were definitely killing time once when they got in the red zone because they knew they had 3 points. So who's to say maybe they don't go and score? However, bonehead throw by Lamar Jackson against New York. You're up 3, 2 minutes left. Bonehead plays by the defense, and the Miami game should not have let them come back. So
I do 2 games right there that actually cost me in our little pick 'em league thing.
No, absolutely, because I had Buffalo. Buffalo and
Miami, and I had Baltimore both. Yeah.
Did I have the Giants last week too? No, I don't think I did. I think I had Baltimore.
Yeah.
I wanted to pick the New York teams last week, but I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I just couldn't find myself.
But no, so I think the Browns, they're on a 3-game losing skid. And I think it's going to be an 8-game losing skid. So right now, their 4 losses are to the Jet-led Joe Flacco, or the Jet-led Joe Flacco. Or the Joe Flacco-led Jets. That's what it was. That's what I was trying to say. The Marcus Mariota-led Falcons. Hurt Justin Herbert without any starting offensive lineman in front of him. And then Bailey Zappi and the Patriots.
Well, and the Chargers were trying to blow that game too.
Yeah.
They were trying to blow that game.
Now, over the next 5 games, they play Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, Tua and the Dolphins, Josh Allen and the Bills, and Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Like, it's not that is a losing formula right there. Yeah, that is a tough 5-game stretch.
Well, and you know what's crazy too, going back, it could be worse for them right now because they had to kick a 58-yard field goal against the Panthers.
They should have lost to the Panthers.
Yeah, in week 1.
And they beat the Steelers. I will say that they
but that's not. It was shock. Everyone in America thought the Buccaneers would destroy the Steelers. Yeah. So it's like that's them beating the Steelers is not a surprise. But it's not looking good for the Browns. And actually, now that you say that, I envision myself picking the Browns over those next several games. At all.
Unless Tua doesn't play, Josh Allen tears an Achilles. Like there are scenarios where I think I can pick the Browns.
Even then, though, let's say it's Teddy Bridgewater. It's like I still kind of like the Dolphins in that game, but that's something that we'll get to at that point. But I think Baltimore's going to win this one unless they blow it. Moving on to the New York Jets versus everyone's favorite team right now, the Denver Let's Ride Broncos. And that Broncos team that offense is atrocious. Absolutely atrocious.
I also will say I found myself to be a huge Russell Wilson supporter when he was in Seattle.
Well, because
I hate him as the Broncos quarterback. He's so cringy. He's not good.
Yeah.
Like it's what he's done in Denver has sucked.
Well, and is it just me, or does it seem like his throwing motion now is like Uncle Rico's from Napoleon Dynamite? It seems like he just stands on his back foot and then just slings it, and the ball doesn't leave like the height of his head. Like it and of course it's such an armchair quarterback,
he
like critique, but maybe it's just more pronounced.
It's because he's 5'11" and he has to get the ball over, so he extends up more. So he always is like throwing the ball from like way up here.
Maybe.
And so it just looks a little awkward.
Yeah.
But
I just think that Jets defense. Of course, it was the Packers. We talked about their struggle, but still, Quinton Williams. Beast. He absolutely disrupted that entire Packers offensive line, and I think he's going to do that again against the Broncos. You got Ahmad Gardner is playing really well in his rookie year, and they have other great pieces as well in that defense. The only thing I think that the Broncos can honestly hang their hat on is the fact that their defense is amazing, and this will be a very true test to how far this Jets offense has come along.
Yeah.
Can Breece Hall still go have an 80-yard, 100-yard game? Can Michael Carter come in and then also can help contribute to that? Can Zach Wilson not like minimize any mistakes? Can the Wilson brothers connect?
Yeah.
And can their other elite receiver options get open, essentially?
So to me, I do see there is a clear path to victory for Denver here. For me, make the Jets drive the full length of the field. Don't make turnovers. And even then, I still feel like the Jets could win. Mm-hmm. But you're right. This Denver defense is solid.
Like I know, like I could easily see myself, not that I want to, but changing my pick to Denver in this game solely just because of that defense. But one thing for me, why I think the Jets. Now, they did have a blocked punt, I think, for a touchdown, but so you take that away. They still scored 20 points against that Packers defense, which is very solid.
Yeah,
not saying it's as good as the Broncos, but it's still good. And the Jets,
I want to say they had a couple short fields though. Also,
they might have. I'm trying to remember.
No, off the top of my head.
Yeah, it was just so tough though to judge. I think the Jets.
It was also a rainy day. It was not a
offense friendly. Well, and that's what I said. The Packers played so sloppy. They played so sloppy, but they've won. The Jets have won 4 in a row, and so I think another concern that I do have for the Jets is they are a little hurt on the offensive line. If I'm not mistaken, I think Mekhi Becton, their left tackle, is out for the season. So
yeah, I think so.
How are they going to go up again? Is it Bradley Chubb? Yeah, he's the number one guy, right? Or is it
Bradley Chubb.
Yeah,
he's a beast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it's like, can they scheme up and just keep putting pressure on the Jets' offense, have them make some mistakes, or maybe, the Broncos can kick their way to a field goal victory. So, but also, I just don't want to pick the Broncos because you're right. Russell Wilson has been extremely cringeworthy, it seems like, as of late, and so they're just not really want to root for them. So. And I kind of want to root for the Jets. So who doesn't love Mormons?
Who doesn't love Mormons?
I hate, man, our mom, so like sidebar, when our mom came up this past a couple weeks ago to watch, to help my wife and I with our new baby, they talked about Sister Wives, that show, so much. And oh my gosh, I cannot. One, I already dislike reality TV, but that show sounds awful. It sounds absolutely awful. So
we've already spent too much time talking about it.
Yes, I agree. So I mentioned Mormons, and I was like, I got to get this off my chest. So I want to put it on the record that I don't.
So I looked it up. The Jets had 2 drives two touchdown drives that were both capped off by long touchdown runs. One by Braxton Berrios, and then the other one by Breece Hall, 20 and a 34-yard touchdown run. Other than that, they had the block punt touchdown, and then 2 field goals. And one of the field goals was it was a 10-yard drive, or sorry, a 20-yard drive that they got in Packer territory. So,
okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
For me, if Denver can limit the big plays, which I think they can with that defense, I think they have a really good chance of winning. I still think the Jets, that Denver offense just absolutely sucks. And I'm not picking them in this game.
There's gonna be a time when they figure it out. But it's not like even with like when I pick the Colts winning, it's like we have seen substantial glimpses of success. Like, this is what this offense should be. And maybe like they had a couple good drives against Seattle. I think they had a good drive last night to start the game against the Chargers. But then you take that, but then you take it then with the bad, and the bad just looks so awful. Looks absolutely atrocious.
So this is one thing too that could be happening is when things go off script for Denver, they really could just absolutely freak out and just like fall off.
Yeah.
Like as soon as a curveball is thrown at them, they don't know what to do. And so that could be one thing, because if they come out on the first drive and score a touchdown and then do nothing else the entire game, that's still only 7 points.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Was that you this time?
I don't know. Just like it clicked us both out. I don't know. But no, I think that Robert Saleh and the Jets are going to throw a lot of curveballs at Russell Wilson, and I just don't think that they're going to be able to figure it out. So
yeah. No, I'm with you on that. So let's move on though. Now, sticking with the AFC West, the Houston Texans are going to the Las Vegas Raiders. Both teams are coming off on a bye. We actually disagree on this one, and so I'm a little curious on your pick with Houston. Or do you not trust Las Vegas? I have Vegas winning this game.
I really like Houston's run game, and I hate the Raiders' defense. I actually think the Texans have a few good things going on defense. Mm-hmm. No, I mean nothing crazy. I just think Jonathan Grenard it has a good pass rush going. I like kind of what they're doing in that front seven, and then Derek Stingley Jr. right is playing, or is he hurt?
I know he got hurt a little earlier on, but he might be back. I'd have to go double check.
But I don't know. I like Houston, and I could see myself changing this one, but I don't know why I just like the Texans. I don't have a whole lot of faith in the Raiders. They just don't. They have so much talent, yet they can't win.
Yeah. So for me, that's what. If you look at, they should not have lost to the Cardinals. Super close loss to the Chiefs. Close loss to Los Angeles when both teams were healthy, and that as well. And so I think that there's a lot more to be said about this Raiders team that we just haven't. Mm-hmm. That they've just been on the wrong end of some of these games. Yes, their defense sucks. Their defense does suck, but you still have Derek Carr now, has Devontae Adams, which then that opens up a lot of things. Matt Collins has come on as a solid number 2 receiver, and you still have Hunter Renfrow. But the thing for me that has been, and this continues for them, and also he's on my fantasy team, but is the emergence of Josh Jacobs. Yeah, he has now had multiple 100-yard rushing games. I think they found something on offense. I think that parts of that might be due to the addition of Devontae Adams as well, because they are now able to run the ball really well, and I think if they keep getting better at that, and then they have a more balanced offense. This offense could get really good. And sorry, I didn't even mention Darren Waller as well. When Darren Waller's healthy down on the field, that is a tough offense. That's a really tough offense. They definitely need to address the defense because that is really what's holding them back. And so I think they've had a couple close losses. Like Arizona, they
actually all their games have really been close.
Yeah. And so not that I go against Houston, because I do think similar to Jacksonville, we're seeing a lot of positive signs from that. I think they've done a good job drafting. Brandon Cooks is still one of the best receivers in the league. Just no one talks about him because he's on the Texans. Nico Collins is really starting to come around. Oh, that was my thing, I think.
It sounded like somebody went.
It's Halloween. And get ready for Halloween.
Gotta get some WD-40 that was nails on a chalkboard, but the first time it sounded like a
Yeah. Having internet issues, chalkboard issues.
Yeah.
Scary. Been a fun episode.
Speaking of which, have you seen The Watcher on Netflix?
The Watcher on Netflix? No.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
It's a really creepy story. It's very much Hollywoodified in the series, but it's a really creepy series. It's a good Halloween watch if you're looking for anything. So
we watched Dahmer. Is it anything like that?
It's the same director as Dahmer. Ryan Burke or whatever. Is that his name?
That dude's got problems. If he directed both of those.
That dude does.
That dude is still a little crazy up there. But anyways, just kind of wrap it up. I think Vegas, both teams coming off on a bye. I think Vegas is, and I hate using this argument, but it's using the bye. They're definitely desperate because they should be a playoff team, and the Texans are not, and we're seeing a positive from them. I just think talent wise, there's just more on the Raiders. And I think that they're just going to pull this one out.
Yeah. No, I could definitely see that. This is probably the most likely one I am to change. Because the Raiders are also at home, so we'll have to see. Up next is the Seattle Seahawks traveling to LA to play the Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert and the Chargers coming off a big Monday night win. Last second field goal with a kicker with a torn hamstring. Props
to
Dustin Hopkins. That was
props to him. That is
making the field goal to tie it and to win it. That's a big
interview after the game too. What a class act! I really like. It just seems. Also, he looks like Lil Dicky. Did you see that? I thought I was wanting to tweet that. You know who Lil Dicky is? The rapper.
Oh,
he's the guy that saved that money, and he does Dave and everything. I think it's that TV show. Anyways, but he looks like Lil Dicky. Props. He's out though. But I mean, when a kicker goes out, like there's a bunch of other kickers that they can replace him with. For me, what really shocked me was this was going up against the Broncos' defensive front, but that offensive line definitely struggling. Losing Rashawn Slater definitely takes from that offense. Looks like the Chargers' offensive line and that offense before they drafted Rashawn Slater and really addressed the offense. And there's another injury too. Is
Corey Linsley, the center?
He's out as well, right?
Yeah, they're both out.
Yeah, so I mean that's huge.
Slater's on season ending, and I think Linsley is just on IR with the chance to come back later. But they don't know. So
so that's a huge loss to a team that clearly, as we see, this doesn't have as much depth on the offensive line as they would like. They will definitely be addressing that in the offseason. But for me, this is a game that I could definitely see myself potentially changing just because of what we talked about earlier with the Seahawks and their offense. Probably not likely, but this is one. The Chargers are a better team, but the Seahawks they have surprised a lot of people. And this also too. This is a game as well where the coaches to me come into play because Pete Carroll is, I think, a way better coach than Brandon Staley. Staley is way too aggressive. While I think Pete
I'm not
Carroll,
a fan of Staley.
I like the aggression. We've talked about this, and I like the aggression. But Carroll, I think time and time again, I think is my opinion, has put his team, which is definitely lacking of talent, in potential game-winning situations, you know?
Yeah,
and I think he gives them a much better opportunity to win than Staley does.
Yeah. We need to do a video about over-aggression and coaching, because I think Zach Taylor for the Bengals is a much better version of Brendan Staley, because I think Zach Taylor uses the analytics to guide his decisions and feelings about the game, rather than Brendan Staley uses statistics to justify his decisions in a game, rather than basing it on how like the game's actually unfolding.
That would be interesting to look at.
And because I really think Brendan Staley has cost the Chargers. Well, I know for a fact he cost the Chargers a playoff berth last year. And so I think it's really tough for them with him as the head coach. I think he's really limiting their chances. So it looks like we lost Tyler again. I don't think anyone's watching. No. We will wait for Tyler to rejoin. Okay. There we
go. Sorry, I'm getting upset. This is going to be giving AT&T a call tomorrow.
That's okay.
So
we have a couple games left. Actually, we have 3 games left.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any before we get into?
No, we have about 6 views, but
no
comments.
Bad.
So
that's not bad. Hi, Mom.
So up next, Kansas City traveling to the Bay Area to take on San Francisco.
This is going to be a good game. I am looking forward to this game.
For this one.
We both have KC winning this game, right?
Yes. I could very easily see San Francisco winning. I just think they match up really well. I think they hit Kansas City in a lot of their weak spots. Just defensive line versus offensive line, I think they'll really be able to get after Patrick Mahomes. That's something that we have seen this year. Those improvements to the offensive line that they made 2 off seasons ago have helped, but it turns out that they might not have been the complete solution that they were hoping they would be. So that is an issue for Kansas City. I also think Kansas City defensively is going to struggle with the weapons that San Francisco has. I like the front 7, but San Francisco, good running team, and I think that they're going to have to put a few more guys in the box to try and stop the run, which will leave Debo, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle on the outside to produce. So it's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah. So for the biggest thing for me is I think it's some of the injuries that the 49ers accrued last week when the Falcons beat them. So I think the Falcons showed kind of how to stop or at least get against the 49ers. And that was with both A.J. Terrell and Casey Hayward went down. So their top 2 corners were out for the game. And they were able to stop kind of everything on the 49ers offense. And so and I would need to look at the statistics, but I would think that the Chiefs defense is better than the Falcons defense overall. I do think it's going to be a tough game, but I think just with all the injuries that are going on with the 49ers, I just think that it's going to be a little too much for Kansas City. But it's like looking back on this, I immediately put down Kansas City, and then now just immediately thinking about it, that was I definitely went very quickly on that decision. Yeah. And this is going to be a much better game, I think, than people give the Niners credit for, especially at home. And both teams really kind of need to win this one. Chiefs need to kind of hang on to, won the division. They're tied right now with the Chargers, and the Chargers beat Seattle. Then they are down a game And then also on top of that, the Bills, they need to kind of keep pace with the Bills so they don't lose too much touch, and maybe the Bills will fall off, so maybe they can get home field advantage. But and the Niners are in the same way. I think they're tied with the division lead with the Seahawks and the Rams at 3-3. So big game, definitely big game for both teams. I hope we get this one. Actually, I don't know if we're going to get this one here in Nashville, but I really hope we do.
Yeah. No, to me, I think this is the game of the week. Actually, I think it is the America's game of the week. But I think that this is the most interesting game, even like of all the primetime games. This to me is the one I'm probably most excited to watch.
These primetime games,
they suck. They're pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, moving on now to Sunday night, like the Steelers, Miami. It'll be fun. I will enjoy watching Kenny Pickett because I'm not able to watch Kenny Pickett.
He did get hurt. I don't know if he's actually going to play. It might be true.
He did get a concussion, so never mind. Well, I've seen that before. But yeah, especially even without Tua, I still think Miami wins this game because it seems like Teddy Bridgewater's back.
It's a lot closer. Teddy Bridgewater, there's a big drop off from Tua to Teddy.
Oh yes, I'm not saying that it's that Teddy is gunning for Tua's job. I think that's more of a statement based off the Steelers. I just don't trust their offensive line at all. Because that's one, you can talk about some talent. They have some serious talent, but they are just not able to put it together because they just can't do anything with that offensive line.
Yeah. No, I agree. So, I have Miami winning too. I think it'll be a close game, like a 24-21 type of game. I don't think either team really blows the other away. But
then I'm moving on to the other non-exciting primetime game. It's going to be your Patriots are hosting Justin Fields and the atrocious passing offense Chicago Bears.
Oh God, they're so bad.
Yeah, I think so. In my pick'em league that I'm doing, the tiebreaker is the Monday night total score. And so I have the Patriots winning this game. And in that one, I put 41 points because I was thinking that I could honestly see the Patriots winning like 38-7 or like 31-10 because this defense is just going to be able to shut down Justin Fields and that entire offense. Even like David, actually, you know what? Like David Montgomery is probably their best player, and
Patriots front seven will just devour.
That
offensive line sucks. That offensive line,
and they have no weapons. Cole Kmet and Darnell Mooney are their top two receivers. And so it's like
to me,
I know Kmet's a tight end, and so but he's his number one. He's his number one guy.
Yeah, to me, I think it's going to be the slow, methodical first half that New England always plays. They'll probably come out of it. They'll be up 13-3, something like that. One touchdown drive, couple field goals, barring a defensive touchdown. But of all the teams that New England has faced, Chicago is by far the worst. Like Cleveland right now, I think would destroy.
I think most people can say that when they see the Bears on their schedule.
Yeah.
This is probably the worst team that we play.
Yeah. But like, I think Cleveland would beat them. I know. Oh no, Detroit hasn't played them yet. But I'm picking, I think Detroit demolishes that team just because they'll be able to outpace them.
I'm looking forward to the New England and Detroit haven't played yet.
No, they have.
Oh, they have. Oh, shoot.
New England beat them 29-0.
Oh, yeah, it was. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Dang, because I was going to say, I was looking forward to that game.
Yeah.
And then it happened. Oh, yeah, I forgot because it was not exciting. So, dang, I wish that was a closer game. So, I said, that was one, I think I picked Detroit to win that game.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I can chalk that up in the list of well, so that was kind of when we started to see New England take the turn. Also, wasn't Bailey Zappi? That was his first game starting.
That was his first start.
I wasn't surprised that New England won.
I see why you picked Detroit.
Well, that's what I wasn't surprised that New England won the game. And same, I'm not surprised that they beat the Browns. I'm surprised the way they beat both teams. I was not expecting them to just blow them out. I mean, amongst those two teams, they only scored 15 points. Against the Lions offense, it was like, say what you want about the defense, but like that offense is, I think, top 10 offense in the league. You know, so
they got in that game, they were 0 for 6 on 4th down, which hasn't happened since like 1992. Like, and so they got behind opening drive. They went forward on 4th and 1, got stuffed. Patriots went down, kicked a field goal. And then I believe it was Lions went down, turnover in the red zone. Patriots went down, another field goal. Like, and so then it was just like, it was death by 1,000 cuts. But at a certain point, when you're down 22 to 0, it's like you start having to go for it. There was only one 4th down that I was really like, you shouldn't do that. And that was a 4th and 9 that the Patriots returned for scoop and score.
Oh, so it was actually a lot closer than what the score led on to believe then.
Yes and no.
Like the Patriots should have won the game, but
there was at no point that I felt the Patriots were going to lose the game. But they did get lucky in the fact that like they got a lead. They kind of eliminated the run game through getting a lead, which in turn made them have to throw into the defense, which if you have to throw into New England's defense and you're gonna let that pass rush pin its ears back and do that. New England has a really good defense this year. Last year,
last year it felt like their secondary really was lacking, like with J.C. Jackson and everything. Because what I envisioned with the New England, it kind of was their home game against the Bills, where, and of course it was the Bills, but it was like who was it? Like who was there? Like the Bills' second string. Oh, okay, yeah. So not second string tight end then. Yeah, and he just went off. It's their third string receiver just went off. And so, and you just see guys just constantly chasing their receivers around the field, and that's what kind of was a summary of New England. But if that defense gets rolling, and if Bailey Zappi is the second Tom Brady, then I mean, that AFC East will be very, very interesting.
Yeah, in my opinion, it is the best division in football right now because you have 4 legitimate playoff teams. 4 legitimate playoff
contenders
with a legitimate Super Bowl contender in the Buffalo Bills. And so I don't think any of the other teams will compete for a Super Bowl besides the Bills. But realistically, I could see the Bills and 2 other teams making the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's shocking too, especially now. And we talked about the Broncos in how they've been struggling, especially too thinking like we thought it was going to be the exact opposite. Like the Bills are going to run away with this. New England maybe makes the playoffs. Not really. Jets are still a year behind, and who knows what's going to happen with Miami.
Yeah.
Like maybe they can be a playoff team because they were close. And now you're right. Like I still think the Bills win the division. I think they're only a game up on the Jets. But still, the Miami has shown.
Bills also have only played 1 division game so far. Actually, so have I think everybody has, except the Dolphins.
I can't remember. The Dolphins have played 2 because they played the Patriots week 1 and then the Bills.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they're 2-0 against them. So in the division. So, but to kind of wrap it up, that's week 14. 4 teams have a bye: Bills, Rams, Vikings, and Eagles. All off contenders, so they're definitely needed. So we're disagreeing right now as 3 games. And so Ryan, I will say too. Not to brag, but you really need this week, or it might be a little too much to come back from. You really need this week.
So. There's still 9 other weeks.
Yeah.
No, sorry, 11 other weeks to pick.
Yeah, but if I win this one though, I'll be 4 games up overall, depending on what happened, how bad games up overall, like when it comes to the overall record. So there's still a long way to go. I meant on our week by week, each week. I'll be 4 games up.
Yeah.
I'll be 4 games up. So
yeah, we'll see.
So I guess 4 weeks up technically. So
Yeah.
but who knows? Who knows?
So I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting week. Not as many exciting games as in weeks past, but every week can't be the greatest week, or else none of them will be. So other than that, if you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe, and go ahead and hit that bell notification so we can send you guys a notification every time we go live. And we will see you guys next time.